at our nation's capital right now as the government shutdown is less than a week away. This morning, some House Republicans are voicing their frustrations with members in their own party who are holding up the appropriations process.
Anyone who says that we're going to finish all 12 appropriations bills between now and next Saturday is absolutely hallucinating. The Senate has not passed a single appropriations bill, and there are 12 of them that have to be passed.
At the same time, Republican leaders are pushing for a continuing resolution that would prevent a government shutdown at midnight on Saturday. Meanwhile, President Biden is calling on Republicans to do the jobs they were elected to do.
Let's be clear. If the government shuts down, that means members of Congress, members of the U.S. military are going to have to continue to work and not get paid. A government shutdown could impact everything from food safety to cancer research to Head Start programs for children. Funding the government is one of those basic responsibilities of Congress. And it's time for Republicans to start doing the job America elected them to do.
Congress needs to pass more than 10 spending bills this week. The federal government now working to determine which employees could be furloughed and which ones are considered essential. Joining me now is Kristen Welker from NBC's Meet the Press. Kristen, good morning.
Hi, Christy. Good morning. Good to be with you.
So less than a week from the October 1st deadline before we are facing a government shutdown. And right now we are hearing Republicans blame each other and Democrats, while Democrats are throwing blame onto Republicans. So this week they need to pass close to a dozen spending bills. What has to happen to get that done and avoid a shutdown?
Well, a lot has to happen, and they have to get on the same page, Republicans on Capitol Hill, and so far that's not happening. I talked to one top Republican overnight who said a shutdown is looking increasingly likely. So what's really happening here? You basically have a small group of hardline Republicans who are digging in on their demands for deep spending cuts that won't pass the Democratic-led Senate, won't get by President Biden's desk. They're also, by the way, threatening Speaker McCarthy's speakership. So it's a really complicated backdrop, but on the sidelines, you do have Democrats in the Senate starting to see if they can broker some type of a deal that would pass the Senate, that would get through the House with Democratic support. But it's hard to see that there's actually enough time for that to happen. So the clock is ticking, the stakes incredibly high, because of course it would have ripple effects all across the country. And again, in talking to folks on both sides of the aisle, they say it seems increasingly likely that we may be headed toward a shutdown.
Ooh, which then that question becomes, how long will it last? So in just 3 days, we will see the Republican candidates face off in the second debate, while former President Trump will not be there. He plans to speak at his own event in Detroit Wednesday night. What do you expect out of the second debate after we saw Vivek Ramaswamy facing the bulk of the criticism from the candidates during the first debate?
It's going to be so interesting. Former President Trump, the GOP frontrunner, won't be there. He's going to counter-program. He'll be talking to auto workers, striking auto workers in Detroit. And of course, President Biden, we've learned, is going to be going to Michigan on Tuesday. But in terms of the debate, I do think that you are going to see everyone kind of sharpening their attacks. It'll be notable to see if they really continue to train their sights on Ramaswamy. You have seen other candidates like Nikki Haley see a bounce in the poll. Governor Christie got a bounce in the polling in New Hampshire. Now, of course, that's just one state, but he's really focused on the state of New Hampshire, a place where he thinks he can win and then ultimately gain some momentum. My overarching question, to what extent will they try to focus on the former president and try to have that breakthrough moment? Because so far that just hasn't happened. Mr. Trump is still running away. Now, we will have brand new polling out this morning, and the great Steve Kornacki is going to be here to help me break it all down. So we'll take another look at the state of play heading into the second GOP primary debate.
Always love watching Steve Kornacki break it down. All right, thanks so much, Kristen. Meet the Press airs at 10, right after 11 Alive Weekend Morning News.